Ram Hare Ram, Ram Ram Hare Hare. Go to my room on my table, leaving the Gita book is there. Please bring that. Can you switch on the fan, please? Or 2 number. Do I need to share screen or no? No? Okay. I need to share presentation. Okay, so we are today going to discuss chapter number 4, chapter number 5, something which is in the context of a discussion which is applicable. I am not covering the entire Bhagavad Gita. What is of specific concerns for teenagers, I have kind of shortlisted those topics and those themes and just highlighting that. So today's topic, if you can write down the date, session and the title. Session 5 and today's title is anything worth trusting anymore? And this is about when somebody gives you an advice. How do you know? Should I trust or not? And at this age, you're going to get plenty of advices from family, relatives, friends, and from definitely social media. Do this, do that. Session 5 is anything worth trusting anymore. Is online students can see the slide? Now they can see that. Okay. So there are 2 questions that comes for every teenager in this context of discussion, which will be addressed in this respective chapter. Through chapter 4, we'll discuss in a world of Google, influencers, reels, and everyone having opinion, how do I know which advice to trust? How many of you ever had this kind of doubt or thought? Please raise your hand. अरे वाह, instant response. इतने एक्टिव आप लोग कल नहीं थे, तुरंत आपने हाथ उठाया. So this is a question about trust. Trust. Whom do we trust? Okay. Through chapter 5, we'll be discussing the second question, addressing a second concern. Okay, I'm applying these tools, but how do I know it is actually working for me? Am I becoming a better person or just learning more stuff? I don't know if you have wondered around this, but if in case we are applying the teachings of Gita, we are practicing spirituality, so it's about measurement. How do I measure that I'm becoming a better person? These are the 2 questions we'll be discussing through chapter 4 and chapter 5. Before we move forward, a quick recap. Decision compass check-in. So we discussed about the decision compass yesterday. If in case any one of you had an experience and opportunity to apply those 3 questions, and yesterday after going back home, if you had to make a decision, then I'd like to really hear if what was your experience. Anyone had the chance? Nobody? So keep in mind, if an opportunity comes and you're asked to make a decision, so remember the 3 questions, run through that list. And then there is a 2 list table. What's in your control, what is not in your control. Remember those 2 things. Okay. So let's begin with the topic for today. First is a trust quiz. You are confused about something important. Who do you trust most? There's a decision to be made, choice to be made, and there are different opinions about it. Simple example is, should I choose PCM or bio after 10th standard? How many of you were troubled with that question? Raise your hand. How many of you were a little bit disturbed? Kya choice lena hai? Should I go in the science stream, which is mathematics? Should I go in bio stream? Was it a difficulty for anyone? No difficulty? You're damn clear about what to do? Okay, let me put next question. How many of you had a difficulty in deciding which college to take admission after 12th? So some of you. So you're in which class, all of you girls? Yeah, you haven't taken science, but was there a discussion about what to do? So that was a little confusing, na? So that's okay. That's the question I'm asking. And different people give you different suggestions. Somebody said take science, somebody says take commerce, somebody said do this. So how do we decide? So let's say if that is a question, I'm going to give you an option. Please select which option would you consider most. Okay? If you have to decide what career path to choose after my 10th standard, should I take mathematics or should I take commerce? Should I take bio? One option I have is go to Google and search it out. Probably read 10 articles about it. Valid choice? This could be one option. Okay. A friend who has been through the same thing. Let's say you have a senior, or let's say you have an elder brother or elder sister who is 2 years elder to you, who have gone through the same situation. Would you trust him or her, their opinion more? Okay. An influencer with 1 million followers. An influencer with 1 million followers. And is telling you, listen to me and I'll make your future bright. And he's making his future bright by making sure you watch his videos. And he's making money on you. Okay? Fourth, a parent or teacher who knows you personally. Either for the college or for your choosing the stream after 10th standard. Whom do you trust the most? Or the fifth option, a book written thousands of years ago, Bhagavad Gita. Or Bhagavad Gita, what Bhagavad Gita says. So we have 5 options. Take a 10 seconds, 20-second break for yourself and just write down in your notebook, which of these 5 would you trust the most? The most. Not that I trust. Which among the 5 you would trust the most is my question. Yeah, in this scenario. In this scenario. For both of you, those who are grown up, in terms of college admission, for those of you who have just gotten to 11th standard, deciding the stream, which stream to choose. The different opinions are coming. These are some of this, advisors who have documented here. Which do you think you will trust the most? You can just write down in your notebook. Your friend gives you one opinion, your teacher gives you another opinion, influencer gives you third opinion. Everyone is giving you different opinions. Do you remember any situation like this where you got different opinions? Then whom do you trust the most? That is what we are trying to discuss here. Whom to trust the most. So if you remember that situation, in that context, these are the options. Who would you trust the most? Please write down. And let's debate. Okay, girls, whom do you trust the most? What's your choice? D. What is D? A parent or teacher who knows you personally. Yes. B. A friend who has been through the same thing. B and? B or D? Okay. Parent, teacher, or a senior? B or D? Hey, choose, make your choice, huh? Don't copycat. Okay, B and D. Thank you for that. Yes. B and D. Okay. A or D. Search it through Google. Parent, teacher. Okay, fine. Online, what would be your choice? Who would you trust the most here? You can either type in quickly or just unmute and say the answer quickly. D. Okay. E. What is E? A book written thousands of years ago. Okay, who was that? Aishwarya said, will trust Bhagavad Gita. Okay. D, E, Daita says A. Only A, Daita. You're going to go through Google search. Daita?
Yes, Prabhuji, I trust like a general opinions.
Okay. Diti says A and D. Okay, thank you for that. Most of you answered, if you pay attention to answer, except for 1 or 2, most of you had chosen to trust somebody, not only who has information, but somebody who have got experience. Is that making sense? When it comes to Google search, it can give you information. But who you are counting most of you is either a senior who have gone through the experience or the parent or the teacher who have gone through the same experience or know of it. Are you getting it? That is a key point. So, generally, how do we and where do we need to put trust is trust cannot be put on some information, cannot be put on some unreliable sources who we don't know. Where do we need to put trust? Where we know the authenticity of the person who's speaking, who's writing. And that is how Krishna begins the fourth chapter. Evam parampara praptam imam raj rishaya vidhu. The idea is the knowledge is transmitted from the teacher to the student, student to the next student. And that is how it moves forward. Slide deck, please. Hardly anyone picked up influencer because information is not same as wisdom. Anyone can share information. Wisdom comes from someone who has lived it. This is the point to remember, not to get confused as you're growing up. Don't get carried away by the influencer. Information is not same as wisdom. Please write down. Information is not same as wisdom. Anyone can share information. Wisdom comes from someone who has lived it. These are the points, 3 points to write down. I'll repeat. Information is not the same as wisdom. Anyone can share information. Wisdom comes from someone who has lived it. Let's do a simple experiment. I call it as a grandmother's dal test. Imagine you have to cook a dal. There are two options. You can go to Google, find a recipe. Or you can call up your mother or maybe your grandmother and get a recipe from them. Which one would you trust more? Why? Give me a reasoning for that. Yeah, you'll trust Google if you don't like your mother's dal. Okay, all right. Which dal would you prefer? Which option would you prefer? Go and search on Google how to cook a dal or call up your mother or a grandmother and find out how to make a dal. Given a condition that your mother and grandmother makes a nice dal. I'm putting an asterisk condition. So you would not go to. So which one would you prefer? Which one would you choose? How many of you raise your hand will prefer to call up a mother and grandmother to find out how to cook a dal? Although calling them could be more difficult, you can just go to ChatGPT and say, tell me the recipe for dal. It's probably easy today. Then why are you going to your mother or a grandmother? Why? Yes. Please give the mic, Prabhu. Why are you going to your mother or grandmother for a recipe, not Google?
Because I have tasted it myself.
You have had an experience of it. And second, you know that they have cooked in the past. So, this is Evam Parampara. That is a point here. Okay. So, what happens in today's world? There are random people who comes on social media and they start giving some gyan. They start giving some information. And they become very famous. Because somebody has become famous, we take it as an authority. Because people are listening to this person, so he must be an authority. Whatever he must be saying must be authentic. But that is not the idea. That's not the proof of it. They could be having a followers because either they have fake followers or maybe followership is in the part of their karma. But does not make them as an authority and authentic. Online, any other reason? Why are you choosing to go and ask your mother but not prefer to go to Google? The same thing, because we have tasted it and we know that they learned from their grandmother and we have an experience of it. So from whoever we are getting the knowledge, always know the source of the knowledge. My mother learned from the grandmother learned from her mother, and so forth. There is a sequence coming. So we know what is the source. It's not that my mother woke up on one fine day and she cooked and she made it. So always ask the source of the knowledge. Going back to the slide deck, please. So Google's recipe, you may get 10,000 results, all written by strangers, no personal connection. and their ingredients without soul. So this is all information. Whereas grandmother's recipe passed down through generations, a lunch from her mother, made with love and practice, tested by time and family. This is what means by parampara system. When Krishna is saying the wisdom of Gita can only be received through parampara. So when we're reading Prabhupada's commentary on Bhagavad Gita, it's very important to know, from where did Prabhupada learn it. And therefore we have this whole parampara. So when you open Bhagavad Gita, at the end of introduction, there is a whole parampara given. Before Srila Prabhupada, Bhakti Siddhanta. Before that, Bhakti Vinod Thakur. Like that, the whole parampara goes up to Lord Shri Krishna. Krishna calls this parampara a chain of living teachers. Not a website, not an algorithm, a person who received it from a person. So anywhere, anytime you get some information, don't consider it to be knowledge. It is just mere information. For it to be knowledge, you should know the source of information. You should know the person. Then only you can trust. Please repeat after me. Books inform. A teacher who has lived it transforms. So we cannot learn things by just reading through the books. Just by reading the book, what we'll get? Information. But when we learn that wisdom of the book through a teacher who has practiced the teaching of that book, then our life gets transformed. So how do you choose who to listen to? Krishna gives us a checklist. So how do we choose from whom to listen to? Lord Krishna gives a checklist, and I want this checklist, all of you, to make a very clear note of it. This is the most important segment of the 4th chapter. So far what we have discussed, let me do a recap. Whom should we trust? And what we realize in our discussion, whom do we trust is generally we trust with whom we have personal connection. Whom do we trust? We trust that person we know have an experience of what he or she is speaking about. So these are some of the things we learned about it. So this concluding slide is books inform, but a teacher who has lived it transforms. So now I'm going to give you a checklist to find out from whom to listen to and whom to trust. And this is the slide about choosing your right influencer. Please write down. Choosing the right influencer. Choosing the right influencer in one's life. So I'm going to give you a checklist with 3 questions. When someone gives you an advice, ask these 3 questions. Are you ready? So then on that basis, if those checklist is marked, then you can trust that person and the advice. Your first checklist, I call it as a chain test. Okay, we have a mic. We'll write it in a while. Let's have a conversation first, then we'll do that. Please, one of you take a mic. Please read out what is written ahead of. So first checklist is the chain test. What is chain test?
Where did they learn this? Who taught them? Is it tested?
Mic is on. Yeah, okay, continue.
Is it tested by time or invented last week?
So chain test means what is the source of the knowledge? Is it created by them? They're just saying anything, or it has been time tested? Okay, that is first litmus test. Second, give it another one. The life test.
Do they practice what they teach? Can I see results in their life or just good talk?
Or they're just having a good talk. They're just giving a motivational talk, inspirational talk. There was this very famous Katha Vachak, and he was giving this nice Katha. And then in that Katha, somebody asked a question about, Swami ji, हम लोग हमारी संस्कृति में अनियन गार्लिक क्यों नहीं खाते हैं? एंड कथावाचक बहुत प्रेरणा से बोलते हैं क्योंकि अनियन गार्लिक के माध्यम से मोड ऑफ पैशन जागरूक होता है, इसलिए हम अनियन गार्लिक नहीं खाते हैं. तो लोगों के मन को तो शांत कर दिया, पर जब कथा होने के बाद वो महाशय डिनर के लिए गए, उसकी पत्नी ने उसका ही कथा सुनकर सब्जी बिना प्याज के बना दी, और कथावाचक भड़क जाते हैं घर पे, ये कैसी सब्जी बनाई है, तुम्हें पता है ये मेरी फेवरेट सब्जी है, वेयर इज द अनियन इन इट? एंड द वाइफ सेड, आई हर्ड योर लेक्चर, you only said we should not eat onion, so I did not put onion. And the Kathavachak said, oh, that is for public to do, not for me. That is for public to follow, not for me. So second is the life test. Do they practice what they teach? And under the slides, I have given the verse references. When you're going to write it down, your homework would be to go and read those verses in the puppet. So the life test, do they practice what they teach? Can I see results in their life, or it is just a good talk? So far clear? The chain test, the life test, and the third, very important.
The care test. Do they actually care about me, or am I just a follower, a number, a view count?
In Bhagavad Gita 4.3, Arjuna asked, my dear Lord, why have you chosen me to speak Gita? Krishna said, you are my Sakha. You are very dear to me. So those who are giving us advice. So in terms of all this online speakers, motivational speakers and all that, out of 3 you can find 2. The chain test could be there, the life test could be there, but not care test, because they don't know you. So how can they really care for you? So please now write down a very important slide. So choose your influencer carefully. So when someone gives you an advice, how do we understand whose advice to follow? Ask 3 questions. Oh, why don't I do one thing? Okay, you can write down. I'll also share a screenshot of it on the parent group, so you have a reference later on. But at least you should write it down so you have your notes ready. Hare Krishna. Everyone got it? Have written down, I hope, in 3 columns. So for everything, we're trying to give you a framework so it becomes easy and distilled for you. Any questions? So in Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says something very interesting in the 4th chapter. He says, as much as the qualification of the teacher matters, tattva darshinaha, so much the qualification of the seeker also matters. So now, whom to hear, whom to listen, whose advice to follow. I've given you the 3-point checklist. Let me give you a checklist for you to become a sincere student, so you attract the right people to advise you in your life. Okay. So what we need to check for ourselves? The following. We can pass the mic to the 3rd, 4th lady and the mic over here. Please read out the title so far.
But wait, check yourself too. Before you check the teacher, check the student.
Please pass on the mic. Quick.
Humility. Am I approaching with genuine curiosity, or what? Prove it to me.
So
attitude.
first core thing is for a student is humility. Do I have a genuine curiosity, or I just want to prove it to me attitude? I want my teacher to prove it to me. If you are correct, that's an attitude. Okay, next.
Sincerity. Am I asking because I genuinely want to learn or to sound smart?
So many times people ask questions just to show their intelligence that I can ask intelligent questions. Not that they have a genuine question, but they want to prove themselves to be smart. And the third checklist. Mhm.
Willingness. Am I willing to actually do what they suggest or just collect information?
Yes. So these are the three essential qualities for a good student. Willingness. Am I just asking a question for the sake, or am I willing to also follow the advice given? So, what are the three qualities for a good student? Humility, sincerity, and willingness. Please, you can make a quick note of it. Got it? Online kids, I hope you are able to catch up. Everyone, look at the screen. Please repeat after me. Krishna did not choose the smartest student. Everyone? Loudly, I can't hear you. He chose the most sincere one. Bhagavad Gita 4, chapter verse number 3. So Arjuna was the most sincere. Therefore, he got a teacher like Krishna. So, what it means? Arjuna did not choose Krishna. It was Krishna who chose Arjuna. It is not a student selects a teacher. It is a teacher who selects a student. So if a student is genuine, he will find a genuine teacher. You getting the point? So Krishna did not choose the smartest student, he chose the most sincere one. So it is not that Arjuna had selected Krishna to be his teacher. It is actually Krishna who selected Arjuna to be his student. And that is a question that is raised in the 4th chapter, verse number 3. Arjuna is wondering, my dear Lord, why have you chosen me to hear this message of Yoga Shastra? And Krishna says, Bhakto si me sakha cheti, you are my devotee and you are my friend. Therefore, I have selected you. This is the essence for as a teenagers for all of you for the 4th chapter. All right, a quick exercise. Let's apply the influencer checklist. You have written down the 3 questions of it, right? So I'm going to give you an exercise. Go through the list that you have written and then decide. So you can write point number 1 and then you can say what you're going to do for that. So for each person below, do they pass or fail the 3 tests? Okay. Somebody online, let's call online devotees. So Aishwarya, you can read the first point, Ritika second, Riti third, and the next slide, then we can Rishul, Daita, Bhakti, and so forth. Let's start. Point number 1, please read.
A fitness influencer with 2 million followers who sells supplement but has never trained anyone in person.
So please go through your checklist. Does he pass any of the 3 questions? Does he fail in every aspect or does he pass any of the 3 questions? He fails in all 3? He fails in all 3? So you're not going to listen to him. I'm not going to waste time in thinking that should I follow his advice or not. How much ever he might speak about health, but actually he's trying to sell you supplement, not try to give you good health. Okay, second, please read next student. Ritika?
Your mother who says don't skip breakfast based Prabhuji, the slide is not being seen.
Yeah, can you see
Your
now?
mother who says don't skip breakfast based on decades of watching your family's head.
Okay, so what do you do with this advice? Look at the checklist. What is the first checklist? The chain test, based on decades of watching your family's health. Clear? What is the second checklist? The life test. What is a life test? What are the questions in the life test? Do they practice? Okay. So does this happen? So does she clears? Okay. The third one, the care. And does she passes in that? So now follow your mother. Is that okay? Who's advised to follow? Okay. Third one, the next boy, the next devotee. Please go ahead and read it.
A motivational speaker who gives amazing speeches but charges rupees 50,000 per session.
So maybe first two could be true, but not the third one, the care test. So can be rejected, not to be paid attention. Fourth one, please go ahead. Who is reading next? Take a mic and read. Online students are confused. Prabhu,
Your grandmother who can't use a
Mike.
phone but has held a family together for 3 generations.
mic hai kahan? Yeah. Rishul, read it out again.
Your grandmother who can't use a phone but has held a family together for 3 generations.
Please go to the three checklist question. Does she passes any of it, all three, or any two? Are you sure? Please look in. What is the first one? The chain test. Next one, the life test. And the third, the care test. Does she passes? So her advice matters. Getting influenced by such people is in our interest. And the fifth and the last one. Please read. Who is supposed to read?
Friend who gives you advice based on a reel they watched yesterday.
A friend who gives you advice based on a reel they watched yesterday. So how many tests does this friend of yours clears? Not chain. There is no chain. How life? So yeah, because you don't know, so you can't pass it. You know, you can't pass it. You're not sure. Care test could be. There is a friend carry, but the first two they do not. So therefore, just move on. Don't have to worry about it. Is that okay? So please read.
Notice something?
Notice something?
Yeah, please go ahead. Online
The
student.
people who pass the checklist, the people who pass the checklist are almost never the famous ones.
Yes, they were the people who you knew very well, or they were the people who knew you very well. Your grandmother, your mother. Please continue.
They are the ones who lived it, learned it from someone real, and genuinely cared about you.
Continue.
Don't be impressed by confidence, be impressed by character.
Please continue.
Don't follow volume, follow depth.
Which means we are living in the world of influencers, and people and teenagers are going crazy about it. You know, people come up online platform, they say so many things, they show so many things. Please don't take those things seriously. Don't follow volume, follow depth. Don't get impressed by somebody because has millions of followers. Does not mean that they can really give you the best advice. And we all would have gone through this challenge. A friend is giving us one advice, our parent is giving us another advice, and we are having a tug of war. How many of you had the situation? Friend is pulling you in one direction, mother is pushing in another direction. Whose advice to follow? Under whose influence should we go? Please go back and ask these three questions. What my friend is saying, is he clearing this three checklist or no? Is my mother clearing this three checklist? Then just follow that. Don't get into the wrong influence, don't get into the association of wrong influences. Is it clear? All right, who's reading next?
Now the honest question. You have the decision compass, you know who to trust, but how do you know any of this is actually changing you? Am I becoming a better person or just learning more stuff?
Continue.
The real measure of growth is not your achievements, it's how you treat people. Not how spiritual you sound, how human you've become.
That is the idea. So it is not a matter of achievements. It is matter of how we are dealing with each other. And that is the subject matter of chapter 5. So we'll pause here because we haven't read through chapter 4, right? I believe the story. Okay, we can take out the slide. Yeah, I forgot about it. So let's go through with the story in chapter 4. Akriti and Prisha, if in case you have not read, can you begin with page number 43 in the book LTG, Living the Gita, and start with the story?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji. Prabhuji, actually I'm traveling, so I don't have the book currently.
Oh, okay, no problem, no problems. Panchul, please go ahead. Sid, you have the book also? And then after Panchul, Sid can read. Panchul, begin.
So the page 43, right?
Yes, the story.
Okay. One of the most common questions people ask me is this: is the Bhagavad Gita really relevant today? It's a fair question. The Gita was spoken thousands of years ago on a battlefield to a warrior. Most of us don't live on battlefields. We sit in offices, classrooms, hospitals, homes. We are doctors, engineers, students, parents. So, how does a conversation meant for Arjuna apply to my life? Honestly, I've asked myself this. The answer came when I studied chapter 4 more carefully. Here, Krishna doesn't just teach philosophy, he explains why the Bhagavad Gita exists at all. How this knowledge was originally passed down through a living lineage, how it became obscured over time, and why it needed to be spoken again.
Thank you.
Then he says something.
We'll have next student read. Sid, please read out.
Then he says something deeply personal to Arjuna. I am speaking this ancient science to you because you are my devotee, my friend, and you are not even envious.
So
And
Arjuna
he
did
adds,
not
over
choose
time,
Krishna. It was Krishna who chose Arjuna. You getting this point? When a student is sincere, he finds the sincere teacher. Please read further.
And he adds, over time, this knowledge was lost and it needs to be re-established. When I read this, something shifted. Arjuna did not choose Krishna. Krishna chose Arjuna.
Please highlight this line.
Not because Arjuna...
Yes, it's slowly. Don't rush through. Please highlight this line. Arjuna did not choose Krishna. Krishna chose her. Circle it very well. This should be very clear. Please read now.
Not because Arjuna alone needed the Gita, but because we would need it. Arjuna was not the final beneficiary of this conversation. He was the instrument. The Gita was not spoken for the battlefield of Kurukshetra, but for the battlefield of human life.
It was spoken for the battlefield of human life. So Gita was not meant for the battle of Kurukshetra. It was just a means and medium. Prisha, would you like to read further if you have the book?
Yes, Prabhuji. But then another question followed. If Krishna wanted to
You can be a little louder,
reestablish this
Prisha,
knowledge,
so
why,
we hear you well. Yes.
why choose a battlefield? Why not a place, a peaceful ashram, a place of calm and quiet? Why speak it in the middle of collapse, confusion, and crisis? Then the answer I realized was simple. When life is comfortable, we don't ask deep questions. We don't seek clarity. We don't look for guidance. We coast. It is the only in crisis when plans fall apart, when the identity shakes, when certain disappears, and when we become sincere seekers. Krishna spoke the science of yoga in a moment of crisis to show us something essential. Even at your weakest, even when your mind feels so overwhelmed, even when clarity seems impossible, this knowledge can still reach you. It doesn't require ideal conditions, it doesn't wait for perfect circumstances. It meets you where you are.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Who can read next? Rishal, you want to read if you have the book with you? Why chapter 4 matters?
In chapter 4 matters. Whether your battlefield looks dramatic or ordinary, whether you are in crisis or simply searching, the Bhagavad Gita is not outdated. It is precisely timed. It was spoken for our confusion, for our search for direction, for moments when we don't know what to do next. The Gita wasn't spoken because Arjuna was in crisis. It was spoken because we would be.
Please highlight this line also. The Gita wasn't spoken because Arjuna was in crisis. It was spoken because we would be. That is meant for guiding our life. This is the line to be highlighted. Okay. All right. Next, we can have Aishwarya, Dhriti, and then Bhakti. The eternal science of the Gita. Please read from there. This is just going to do a recap of what we have already covered. Please read out.
Eternal science of the Gita. Lord Krishna opens this chapter with the revelation that shifts the entire conversation. I taught this imperishable science to the sun god Vivaswan. Vivaswan taught it to the Manu, and Manu taught it to Ikshvaku. The knowledge Arjuna is receiving is not new, it is eternal, repeatedly taught whenever humanity forgets it. Over time, Lord Krishna says the chain of teachers, parampara, was broken. Therefore, he is speaking it again to Arjuna, his friend and a devotee, because Arjuna is qualified to receive it. This point is essential. Spiritual knowledge is timeless, but its transmission requires a living link. You cannot access eternal truth the way you memorize a fact. You receive it the way a candle receives the flame from someone who is lit.
Thank you. Okay, next, who is supposed to read? The key concept. Knowledge flows through relationship.
Key concept. Knowledge flows through relationships. The Gita is not a philosophical invention. It is received wisdom passed on carefully through a lineage of realized teachings. Lord Krishna emphasizes that true understanding comes to the disciple who approaches a genuine guru with gratitude, humility, inquiry, willingness to teach. Without these, learning becomes intellectual speculation. With these, the same word reveals deeper meaning. Books inform, a qualified teacher transform.
All right. So that slide was based on this particular text. So what are the qualities of a student should be there? Humility, inquiry, which means sincerity, and willingness to serve. Bhakti, please go to page number 48. A real life application. Finding a genuine teacher.
Real life application. Finding a genuine teacher. The scenario. You have read books, watched spiritual talks, followed multiple teachers online, but you feel spiritually scattered. The more you learn, the less certain you become. You wonder, is there someone who can guide me personally? How do I know a teacher is genuine? What if I choose wrongly? The Gita principle. Lord Krishna gives a simple but profound formula. Approach a spiritual master, inquire from him submissively, and render service. The self realized soul can impart knowledge because he has seen the truth. A true teacher does not self advertise, he or she is revealed to the sincere seeker.
So many times this question is
How to
asked, so
apply?
how do I find a genuine teacher? Teacher is not talking about academic teacher here. The point of discussion here is about spiritual life. So for in that context, what is mentioned is, we need to follow our dharma. What is mine to do? You're getting back to the previous session? What is mine to do? Become sincere, become eager, become genuine. If I do so, then we'll get the right teacher in our life. Please continue.
How to apply it? Instead of hunting for a guru, become the kind of student a true guru would choose. Cultivate humility. Serve where you are. Ask sincere questions, not prideful ones. Develop steadiness in practice. As your sincerity deepens, the right guidebook, mentor, community, or acharya naturally enters your life.
So in first chapter, to conclude with, Lord Krishna says, choose the right influencer. Interestingly, Gita had discussed about influencers even before the age of internet, 5,000 years ago. 4.34 Bhagavad Gita. Find the right influencer. And how to find the right influencer? By becoming the right student. And what are the qualities of right students? Genuineness, humility, humility, sincerity, and willingness. And the last thing, through this particular chapter, we also discuss what is the checklist or a framework for us to know whose advice to follow. What are the checklists? What are the three options? The first, the chain test. Second, the life. And the third, the care test. And if somebody passes all three, then we know whose advice to listen and whose advice to put on hold, and we move forward. So two things: whose advice to follow. We discussed about the framework, and how do we become a good student so that we can have a genuine teacher in our life. Now, the moving forward, that we'll discuss tomorrow because time is up. I thought I'll take chapter 5 today, we'll take it tomorrow. So I'm applying these teachings, but how do I know something is changing in me? So Krishna says to know how things are changing in you is to see how you're behaving with each other. And that topic we'll cover tomorrow. All right, so in the meantime, all of you please read chapter number 5, page number 51 onwards. You can go through this chapter. We have already covered part of chapter 4. You can always look back. I'm not giving some homework right now much. I'm waiting for some more themes to be developed, and then we'll probably plan out. And can we have a class on the Sunday morning? Let's say around 11 o'clock? Is that okay for everyone? Please give me a quick thumbs up. It works for all of you. Because I believe for next week onward, your schools are opening up, right? So today is what? Thursday. Today we have done the 5th session. Tomorrow is Friday. I'll do tomorrow also, 6th session. And Sunday we do the 7th session. And after that we have some sessions remaining. Then what do we do? We'll do weekly 1 or 2 sessions then. You can't do it every day because your classes would have resumed. 4 o'clock is doable for everyone or no? 4 o'clock is manageable after school opens? Okay, find out. Okay, can you all make sure at least Sunday morning everyone is there? So if needs to be, I can go for a little bit, 1.5 hours. We can do a quick recap of what we have done and discuss some few more framework and probably give you some food for thought homework or an assignment then. Okay, so tomorrow we'll cover chapter 5. I'll see chapter 6 also we'll try to cover. At least we'll cover the first 6 chapters. There is a lot for us to practice. There's a lot for us to remember even in these first 6 chapters in your life. So probably not sure if you really need to rush through all the remaining chapters. So let's take a look at it. Any questions, any comments? So what did you learn today? 2 things. First, checklist to make decision. Checklist to select whose advice to follow or not follow. And second thing, how to become a good student. What are the qualities expected, as Krishna said. And few other things, what? It is not Arjuna chose Krishna, it was Krishna who chose Arjuna. Chapter number 4, verse number 3, Krishna speaks about that. Okay, so please read chapter number 5 tomorrow. Try to read chapter 5 and 6 both. The storylines, get a recap, so we'll not read the story. And then we'll get into the framework and the topic of discussion. And then we'll at least cover 2 chapters tomorrow. Open the questions. Yes, you have a question? Yeah, please go ahead. Take a mic. And I will send you the screenshot of those 2 slides. So you can go back and make proper notes. Yes, please.
But what if, for example, the person you're taking advice from, for example, your parents, who in some criteria they're matching all 3 checklists, but it's like it's very generic. For example, I do see some decent results in their life and all, but it's like it's just a very old conservative type of advice, and and I'm not really, and the results they are currently having, and I don't want, if I don't want those results, then what about that? And plus they're humans after all, right? Everybody, there's always like mistakes, there's always stuff like that. So you can't, in my perspective, I can't fully see myself fully taking that full piece of advice?
Advice, correct. Valid question. So my question to you is, among all the advices you finally end up with, let's listen to parents, seems to be that's most logical because it fulfills all the three criteria. For everyone else, for any academician or motivation speaker, they can do the first two things, but not the care test. Now, whatever advice is giving is not aligning with your understanding of life, is not aligning with your wish. So there is a conflict. So the conflict is not because their advice is wrong. The conflict is existing because you don't like their advice. You're not liking their option that they have chosen or suggesting to you. So, well, in that case, when there is such a difference of opinion, if you think they are also humans, they may have a flaw in their understanding, by all means, a teenager have a far much more lesser life experience to be able to think that will have a better understanding. Just by the measurement of age, somebody who's double the age probably have a better experience of the life. And if in case you need to, then involve more people into the discussion. If the point is they're orthodox, they're having a little outdated belief patterns, so then then bring in more people into the conversation. Who you think having a more urban mindset, who you think are not as old as my parents because they are thinking from the previous generation point of view, then bring in more people into the conversation, have a wholesome conversation. Then finally, whatever one conclusion is there, then at the end of the day, like or dislike should not be a consideration. Then we follow that. The reason why we follow that is it's just because I don't know perfectly. In my situation, with the less experience of the life, it is better if I follow the advice of others. And the same thing we can see, Arjuna was willing to follow, and Duryodhana never wanted to follow. What was Krishna's advice to Duryodhana? Please give 5 villages. And what did Duryodhana said? You are too orthodox. You are outdated. You don't understand Zen Z. Zen Z believes in not sharing. Zen Z believe in not caring. Zen Z believe in only one thing, taking from everyone. I am the Duryodhan. Get lost from here. And then what happened? Who suffered at the end of the day? Now Krishna went to Karna also. Krishna told Karna also, you're the elder brother of Yudhishthir. Please change the sides. Karna said no. And what he did, he followed what he thought was right. And then what happened at the end of the day? Karna also died. If he would have followed Krishna's advice, he would have become the king of the whole world. So fallacy exists both the sides. Not only their side, but also our side. And we have a greater fallacy because we have less experience of the life. Okay?
And
Yeah.
what about new and upcoming situations no one has lived yet? For example, like we are currently going into the age of AI, for example, right?
Age of AI, correct.
Yeah. So there are very few people who have currently experienced the full toll of AI, and we don't know what's gonna come next, and we are probably the first people who are gonna experience the full capacity of AI. So like in situation, I'm not just talking about AI. I'm talking about situations like these in general when we are experiencing new things which haven't been
Correct.
there for the first time.
Correct.
What to do there?
Now in that case, let's talk about the AI for a reason. Now it's quite new in the field, and the whole way the world functions is going to change in few years from now. It will be adapted in everything from medical to the legality and everything. Then people who know about that field, who are working in that field, can be contacted, can be approached, and their opinions can also be taken. Because we can learn only from others' experiences, what others have gone through. So we can find out, ask your father if there is somebody in the company who's working in this domain who can give us guidance, because we need to have some discussion around it. So like that we can, as I said, try to bring more people into the conversation, so you get to hear all different sides of perspective, and then finally everyone comes to a single conclusion, and let's follow with that. Okay? I understand what you're going through. Thank you for your questions. All right. Thank you all for your. Yeah, you have question? Yes, Paki. Please go ahead, Paki. Yeah, this is, I did not discuss this particular aspect. I've just introduced this as part of philosophy. This is where Krishna is speaking about a learned person, seeing action in an action and inaction in action. And that means he sees with equal vision. He sees everything as a service to the Lord. So he doesn't see anything for himself. So let's say Paki decides, I will just go in the corner of the room and sit quietly. According to Bhagavad Gita, that inaction is also an action. You're not sitting quietly, your mind is chatting with you. So there is an action going on. Similarly, somebody is sitting here going through a physical action. If that person is detached, then he is doing inaction. And if that person is attached, while not doing inaction, is doing an action. That's the idea. But that's a difficult, I didn't touch upon that to begin with. I want to address the areas of concern for teenagers that I could see. Okay? Thank you. Daita, yes, please.
We had a question in connection to his previous question. Like you said that we have to take other people's opinions, many people's opinions, and then make a decision. But sometimes we have to make split-second decisions, and well, we'll not be able to gather so many opinions and be confident in what decision we're about to make. So in those situations, what are we supposed to do?
So I discussed that in the previous chapter, decision-making framework. Remember the decision arc? That was yesterday. We gave you
but
three.
Sometimes those decisions can be tough.
Oh, actually, decisions are tough. Life is not going to be easy. Therefore, we're trying to prepare our consciousness. So at this point of time, because as we are going through the learning phase, it might be still a little cloudy and hazy for us. Therefore, as I said, there is an exercise given to you. Please start thinking from that point of time. Let's say if some decision has come upon you, are you able to remember those three questions and run through with that? Because you got to practice it. Once you go through with that practice, and when those frameworks are set in your mind, then decision making will be a little easier. But you have heard it, but you have not practiced it, then Daita is still the same Daita what she was a week before. Because she got the information, but she never practiced it to turn into a wisdom. So the tips and the tricks are shared. Now it's up to you to start practicing it. Therefore, I'm not going in too much hurry. I just want to give you framework for different aspects of life. And remember that, memorize that. And start going through with your life. Therefore, Sunday session is important because it may happen, what I'm thinking, I may pause it after Sunday. And I may give you a 3 months break. Because by Sunday, if I have finished the first 6 chapters, I would have given you enough framework where I would like you to work upon it. Because I don't have a syllabus to finish and you ain't going anywhere. So I may give you 3 months of time. We continue conversing with each other. If you applied some framework, come back to me, how was it? Or, if you couldn't apply, what was the challenge, come back to me. And then we again resume after maybe 2-3 months, where you have at least practiced certain things. Otherwise, what will happen if I go through with this, you will have an information overload, but no practice. At the end of it, in your notebook, there will be 12 frameworks or 18 frameworks, but you might not open the book ever again. So that should address your concern then, okay? Fine. All right. So we pause here. Thank you for kind attention. Jagadguru Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Hare Krishna. Yeah.